Episode 19, Philosophy, Part 3, Western Philosophy of 20th Century. We have shown in the previous video that Western philosophy has four main areas denoted by idealism, mysticism, materialism and physical process respectively. These areas have been formed on the basis of four worldviews and corresponding versions of original cause of the universe. Accordingly, we can see the evolution of various doctrines of thought through 2 millennia, starting from the Greek roots. Our focus in this video is the Western philosophy of 20th century, which coexists along with the latest trends in science and religion. Only a concise account of the main areas is possible at present. Rather, we can have a bird's eye view. First area, idealism. As mentioned earlier, idealism is the theory of reality, that is original cause of the universe as conceived for answering the question, is there purpose or design in nature? By proposing the organic worldview that the universe is like an organism having good purpose, then the reality is the supreme mind or consciousness, which is a being responsible for the intelligent design of the nature. It is alternatively called God with multiple descriptions from religious point of view. Of course, here reality is defined as a being by adopting content view of knowledge. The Greek doctrine of idealism was transformed into a religious philosophy after a few centuries at the hands of scholars of Judaism and Christianity. This theological doctrine is called Theism, which asserts the existence of a personal God with the attributes of perfection and omnipotence. So, we may state that idealism remains influential in 20th century as the dominant part of religious philosophy. Second area, materialism. A new version of theism emerged in 17th century, envisaging that God created the material world and its fixed laws, but does not interfere in worldly affairs thereafter. This principle is called deism, and it was a religious approach to the mechanistic worldview. But this religious view was vehemently opposed by the scientists who promoted experimental or empirical methods, leading to the discovery of physical laws pertaining to classical physics and chemistry. In this situation, the concerned philosophers proposed the theory of reality known as materialism. They held that the nature is originally composed of an extended and homogeneous substance called matter. Further, it was proposed that the material world had undergone evolution, leading to the emergence of biological organisms also. The new branch of science called biology was developed in 19th century, holding that the phenomena of life and mind as well as the working of body can be studied on the basis of physical laws. The theory of biological evolution, published by Charles Darwin in 1859, gave strong support to materialism. Coming to the 20th century, the ideology of materialism continued its influence upon experimental or empirical scientists in a wide range of modern science, mainly particle physics, quantum cosmology and modern biology. Third area, mysticism. Mysticism holds that reality is a mental or spiritual process. Here, the original cause is a divine force that works inside worldly things. That is, God is immanent in nature. It is expedient to explain this idea using the example of a seed becoming a plant and later a tree. We can conceive that there is no external force to direct the seed to germinate and grow into plant and tree in the course of time. So, the germination and growth are caused by an internal force existing in the seed itself. It is described as vital force, that is the manifestation of immanent God. Under the history of mysticism, we can see many ontological doctrines such as Stoicism, Neoplatonism, Pantheism, monadology, historicism, and panentheism. It may be emphasized that mysticism is against the organized religions following theism. So, it is the mainstay of Protestant church which was established in 16th century. We can see many mystical cults in different periods of history. Kabbalah, Sufism and Christian mysticism are main examples. In recent decades, the phenomenon called New Age spirituality is very popular for spiritual experience, though it lacks the sound and abstract principles of religion. In mystic religions and cults, the word God is not normally used to refer to the divine power. However, we can adopt the term immanent God in such cases for convenience. Fourth area, physical process. We may recall that a thing is to be considered under content view. On the other hand, process view patently deals with the description of the circumstance, that is the context, causing the change of the thing. Going a step further, the main philosophers of 20th century took the position that the role of philosophy is to analyze the truth of the language used for describing the circumstance or context. Taking into account of this prescription, we may briefly mention the most important branches of philosophy of 20th century as existentialism, postmodernism and linguistic philosophy. A brief description may be given below. First, existentialism. Existentialism is a literary way of describing individual experiences as well as mental issues like anxiety, alienation, freedom and responsibility. As a philosophy, it emphasizes that various kinds of experiences of life defines the existence of a person. It is contrasted with the predetermined laws or purpose which are collectively called as essence. Then it is decreed that existence precedes essence, meaning that humans are born without inherent purpose and must create their own meaning and values. Key philosophers in this area of thought are Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Sartre, Heidegger and Marshall. Second, postmodernism. We can simply hold that it is the physical process view mainly about art and literature, with a limited influence on science and religion also. As such, it is the method of empirical, existential, contextual and linguistic interpretation of various kinds of knowledge. The method of deconstruction presented by Jacques Derrida is the highlight of this movement. It is appropriate for anthropological and sociological studies. Third, linguistic philosophy. Linguistic philosophy may be characterized as the view that the analysis of language is the proper method of philosophy as a whole. Bertrand Russell is famous for his doctrine called logicism, but we can state that Wittgenstein is the chief exponent of linguistic philosophy. He emphasized the study of contextual meaning of sentences. Further, he asserted that the logic of language was about the precise and logical relationship between prepositions and the word. The images of 9 main philosophers of 20th century are shown below. As a review of the main branches of Western philosophy of 20th century, we can note that there is clear departure from the traditional objectives of articulating the reality of universe. That is, the key questions of philosophical thought are ignored in order to give way for descriptive treatment of context and language. Please subscribe to this YouTube video series. Thank you for watching.